real life. Gentlemen, welcome to this interview. Today we have the honor, the privilege, and the luck to have here with us to STEF, one of the greatest and most unknown until today dating coaches in the world. So, I've been personally running a dating advice company in Spain, quite big in the last years, and he actually was one of my main mentors and one of the biggest influences I had in order to improve my dating life, my confidence years ago. So we've done actually a previous live streaming before this video. The video quality wasn't the best, so we said, fuck it, we're gonna do it again with top quality. So let's get started. Steph, welcome to my house.
Thank you, Javi.
We just made up like a random podcast room in one day.
So beautiful, what a beautiful setting.
Yeah.
Beautiful city.
Yes.
Beautiful apartment.
Yeah.
Beautiful soul next to me.
And also we have here, I'm gonna put it in a huge resolution. We have like two interesting people or three people in this picture. You can see a beautiful couple in the screen and also a third person. And this little face here, I think, is literally the face of, with a lot of meaning, right? A lot of meaning of what do men do, what they think. Like it's not congruent with what they do in real life, you know? So it's quite funny because we see someone here like approaching a beautiful girl in an amazing way. And then the other guy just looking at her and thinking, oh, what if I did the same, but I never do it, you know? It's
exactly, it's like the perfect example of what you really don't want to be.
Yeah, it's a nice contrast.
It's like nice to see. Like I'm interested in how the facial construction takes place. He's thinking like, oh damn, but he's such in a habitual life that he will never do it.
Yeah,
not even think it's possible.
Yeah.
So that's quite it's fascinating. I love it. Amazing picture. You can also see like he's a bit less fit. You know, he has like a little bit the boobs hanging there, estrogen dominance. So yeah, nice.
Funny.
That was funny, huh?
Yeah, for sure. So you wanna introduce yourself for people who don't know you, a bit about your story. How will you tell it?
Okay, cool. I'll keep it short. My name is Steph. I'm 35, and I've been coaching success with women since early 2014. My own journey started in 2012, just learning from scratch. Being a very socially anxious person. Not really happy, not living a life of choice, in scarcity, taking responsibility basically and working on myself, working on my skills, getting more social, and eventually reaching a level that I can say that I'm quite successful with women.
So that anxiety, where did it come from? It was like mainly with women or also like socially in general?
I would say it was in general. It happened in all kinds of situations socially, when I had to speak up, when I had to be assertive. I think it came from my childhood when I was younger, that you have to raise your hand when you want to speak. People tell you like, don't be so loud, take it easy, be loud. And I think at one point I just made like a switch, and I was just like I grew up thinking that people said I was an introvert person. I was like a bit shyer, even though with my friends I was like very outspoken, had like a big mouth, said what I was thinking, but then in social situation with different people I would react completely different. And then when I got older, the anxiety just grew for some reason, especially when you feel like that you want something and you have like no ability like how, but then you come in certain situations and you're so stressed because you're not used to it, and then you get anxious. Everybody's a bit different in their symptoms, but and then you have to choose, right? Do I'm gonna fight, flight, or just freeze? And I was basically like running away and freezing until I made a change.
So how was your dating life like back then?
My dating life was quite scarce. It was funny because I was always quite fit. I was like an athlete.
Okay.
I was doing a lot of sports, and yeah, I'm not the ugliest person. I'm also not the most handsome person. So people always say like, oh yeah, it's probably easy for that guy. He's fit, he's that. But it was actually not like this. I lost my virginity when I was 22.
Wow.
Then I got a relationship as well, but it was not really a relationship out of choice. It was just something that came out of my way and was like, oh, somebody wants to be together with you and somebody loves you. okay, let's start a relationship, but it was not by choice.
Okay.
Not the life that we are both living right now.
It's interesting because many people who get into like developing themselves with women, social skills, game, pickup, whatever you want to call it, there's a percentage of them, and I had like some customers that were like that they were like doing well in general, you know, so they didn't like starting from the beginning. So it was like maybe they have some experiences, some girlfriends, and then they add this cherry to the cake, you know, and it's like massive, like growth, you know.
Yeah.
But
you mean like a little tweak that changes everything?
yeah, a little trick, but I mean that they are like already have like pretty decent social skills, you know. But maybe there's like fears approaching, and they just never had the chance to discover this opportunity, you know. Yeah. But in your case, and also it reminds me a bit to mine, you know, it's like starting from almost zero, you know, like losing virginity like 22, and having no experience. And I think it's a very good example to inspire everyone. Like everything is possible, you know. Like if you become like a great dating coach, like coach hundreds and hundreds of customers around the world, and improve this area of your life, but not by having like some natural talent, you know, like, okay, I was good already when I was like 16 with girls or something, but you actually lose virginity with 22, you know. Yeah. So that's actually, I think, a good example of what can be done if you actually commit to it and develop like the commitment to get through the process.
Exactly, it's one of those timeless secrets, right? If you work quite hard for something, then you will get My favorite mentor, like rest in peace, Charlie Munger from Berkshire Hathaway, he always said like, in life, you always get what you deserve. So if you work for something, you learn, you invest whatever asset you have into it, you will get what you deserve. That's how the universe works, basically. Sometimes it will take a bit longer, sometimes it's faster because you have like many factors. You have some luck, you have some this, you have some that, geography, natural selection always works as well. But you always get what you deserve. That is a beautiful thing about our journey. You put the time in, you put the work in, you put the money in, and just you get results. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, and to ask you this question, I'm gonna share with you guys a sentence that Steph told me once, and it got stuck in my head. You know, I have like always many sentences from people I learn from, and I got like quite a few from you. And you once told me, I feel you were like doing some boot camp, some coaching or something, and you told me we were like, I think in Barcelona, in a nightclub or something. I don't know where, but you told me, or you said someone, I feel more comfortable or more relaxed walking in a nightclub at 5 a.m. in the morning than being alone in my bedroom.
It's quite funny. And I still mean it till this day, actually.
Yeah. And I remember when I heard that sentence from you, it got stuck in my head. Okay. In my head, you know, like, okay. So how is it? And the question was like, how is it possible, or what happened? What triggered you from becoming a virgin at 22 years old to some years later being the like social anxiety to becoming the person who in any social space, even the most chaotic social space you can be, which is like fucking nightclub, which is fucking crazy place, you know, lots of stimulus, drunk people, and you managed to become not only super successful with women, but also develop like very solid social skills to be able to be comfortable in your own skin. What was the trigger that made you commit to this journey and develop your social skills?
It's actually a pretty good question. Thank you. It's not like one specific thing, but it's just like a few principles, applying and keep doing them. So first of all, you have to consistently put time in, right? You have to get mentors. You have to get like a community that provides like support, emotional support, because it's going to be very tough, right? Yeah. You have like, you're going to suffer, you'll be scared, you will have rejections, you will lose like faith. So you need like a community that supports you if you have a bad day or something, and just keep doing that, and then really enjoy the successes, right? Like, I think there's a book called, it's called The Winning Effect, or The Winner Effect, I think. Okay. So it's very important to celebrate wins. So let's say that, you're scared of approaching, but then you do 2 approaches the first day. Whatever happens as a result, you have to celebrate that. Like, high five your friends, or do something, or treat yourself for an ice cream or something. But you have to make sure that you get that positive winner effect into your mind. And I think maybe this is like, if I have to put like one little point,
Mm-hmm.
because I had like a few small successes, and I remember for me it was like I was getting very excited, like wow,
Mm-hmm.
look what happened, like wow, my world is changing,
Mm-hmm.
like wow, interesting. Not only like in dating but also business, work, like I started feeling like very powerful as well.
Yeah.
Like, wow, it's if I'm just nice and positive, this is how people react to me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's so fascinating. So I would just say a few principles, and then just keep doing that for a long time. And also, not the beginning when you have success, don't stop, keep going.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the external success, it's about you as a person. You want to build your character, you want to build skill sets, and last and not the least, you want to build like self-esteem and high self-esteem. And I think high self-esteem is like the foundation of everything. Like the 6 pillars of self-esteem, the book that we talked about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
I think that is like the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I realized it quite early, and that this is also because of mentors. It's like simple, right? You're shit at something, and then you ask a question like, hey man, can you tell me like
Yeah.
how should I do this?
Yeah.
Like I have small biceps, like how should I get big biceps?
Mm-hmm.
You write down, you implement basically.
Yeah.
So I think this is like it's so like easy, but it's too easy. People look for like difficult answers in difficult books, and they read a lot, and they go to a lot of YouTube videos. But the thing is, just you look for an experienced person, somebody who did what you want to achieve. You ask a question, just implement. And now you implement for 3 months, and then you go back. Hey, listen, I was doing that. Can you give me some advice?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it good or not? And blah, 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 blah. And then you can go to the next level. And
Yeah.
I think for people who are high performers, or men in general, or even women, but like different skill sets, it's all about achieving the next level, right?
Yeah.
And not stopping until the day we die, probably.
Yeah.
So next level. But that's why we need like feedback, we need mentors, we need to be reflective with ourselves, to be honest with ourselves as well. Don't make up stories. I can talk about it for hours. The subject.
So you were talking before, like some of the ingredients that helped you make that transition during the process. You were like improving your social skills, going
Yeah.
out meeting women. You talk about something very interesting, which is like the emotional support. And I don't know if you have some story about that, but for me that was one of the most important things, like that allowed me to continue with the process. You know, because like experiencing rejection
Yeah.
from a woman you haven't met in the street, it's like one of the biggest fears all men have.
Yeah.
You know, and in order to become better with women, you don't need to get rejected once.
Yeah.
You need to get rejected like unlimited times. You know.
Yeah, the rejection is a part of life.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
even real, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
an
yeah.
illusion.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. And I don't know if you have some story. I remember like many times like coming back home, you know, like almost with a tie, like how do you say tie in English? Like how do you say?
Crying.
Yeah, with little like crying
Yeah.
in my eyes, you know.
Yeah, it's possible.
When I was 16, 17, and like because it was like a very painful approach somehow, you know, like the rejection. It wasn't even a creepy approach, but I was like visualizing myself like as doing something creepy, and then it felt creepy, you know. And to the point where like the only reason you're like maybe like continuing the process of meeting women and approaching them is just because of your surroundings, you know.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like your weird friend is telling you, oh, don't do this. Then the other Persian guy is telling you advice about what you should do with your dating life.
Yeah.
And then comes a girl and tells you, yeah, just chill, don't do anything, just be yourself, you know. And
Just be yourself. It's like the biggest lie in the world out there.
yeah. So, but things change when you have like some friends around you that are
Yeah.
actually serious about your same goals.
Yeah.
I think it applies to any discipline, whether you wanna learn sales, whether you wanna learn like any skill. It's like when you have the people around you, then you basically just need to help each other. Like when someone is down, then the team backs you up, you know. And when you're like
Exactly.
crushing it,
Exactly.
I remember many times with Armin when she was in the fucking shit, like almost crying because she was not progressing. Maybe I was meeting girls and I was doing well, and I motivate him, you know, to continue. And the same the other way around, you know. Like remember some nights when I was pulling girls something, and I was like, I'm in the next room hearing how they have sex, you know, and I'm like feeling that and feeling that I'm not in the same point, and that gives you like the reason to say, okay, I'm gonna fucking step up, I'm gonna do whatever it takes, you know.
Yeah.
Do you have like that emotional support? How do you find it somehow when you were like starting the journey in the game?
I was very lucky I had it, but I was also attracting it. I was working quite hard to
Mhm.
to create like an environment to have that. I think I told you before, I was living in a small village. I
Mhm.
moved to a bigger city, then to a bigger city, to proactively meet like successful people that I wanted to hang out with. Yeah, but it's very important because I remember like a few months in the self-development journey. For some reason, I thought like rejection would stop at one point. I was like, I didn't understand the concept. I was like, because I never got rejected before, so I
Mm.
thought, okay, if I get rejected for a few months, it's gonna be over forever. I remember I was rejected, and I was like with a friend, like, I got rejected again, blah blah blah. And then my friend told me like, listen, Steph, you will always get rejected. It's fine. This is part of life.
Mhm.
The more you get rejected, the better you will be doing. And for some reason, that sentence got anchored in my mind that I now always laugh at myself. Like, the more I get rejected, the more I'll be successful in areas of my life.
Mhm.
So, and this was a very good friend of mine, so he had like a big impact when he said it. And that's why also mentorship is so important.
Mhm.
If you have somebody that tells you like, no, you're getting rejected and it's painful, but it's good for you.
Mhm.
This is how you learn, this is how you will grow. But then we also live in a world of conformists, right? What you said, like, oh yeah, the friends say you have to be yourself, or
Mhm.
it's okay, man, just eat some pizza.
Just jerk off.
Yeah, just do whatever, you know. But you want to ignore that, right? So it's very important that you put yourself in a good environment.
Mm.
By being example for yourself first, you will attract the people that you like, that you are.
Yeah.
And mentorship or something, or there's different paths to create this environment, but you
Yeah.
gotta find the way to figure it out for yourself. And also that is like part of being a successful person,
Mhm.
because people can smell like, this guy is doing something interesting. Oh wow, and he's doing it again. It's consistent. It's like in a
Yeah.
gym.
Yeah.
Like, who's gonna be in the gym Friday evening late or Sunday morning? It's like, who's then you know like, this guy.
This guy is serious.
This guy is serious, doing something, is consistent.
Yeah.
So yeah. I
Yeah.
hope that is a good answer.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, but-
So, how was a bit like your process to get good, like at meeting and attracting and dating women? Like, I remember you told me like a few times you had like times of your life you were going out like 5-7 days a week, just like every fucking day.
Yeah.
You correct me if I'm wrong, but what I understood is like basically you were just leaving for and exclusively for meeting women, right? Like everything you were doing just like for
Yeah.
getting good at meeting girls. And how was the process, like that routine somehow?
The way I saw it, so I was 23, and I think we're all animals, and I was quite obsessed about women, and I didn't have them. So when I encountered self-development, for me it was like logical. This was the area I wanted to fix first. There's like financial, there's like purposeful, there's like whatever your thing is, but like sexual relationships was like super important. So I just told myself like, okay, this is, before I do anything else, I want to figure this shit out. Like,
Mhm.
well, what the fuck is happening there? I need to fix that. Okay, this is what I have to do to achieve that. I'm gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was an extreme example, and I think you're also part of the extreme examples.
Mm-hmm.
This is not for everybody, and it doesn't have to be this way. But I chose the extreme path, so I was literally going out a lot, 4 or 5 times a week. You know, sometimes people were talking about 30-day challenge. I was doing 60-day challenge. Not recommended, by the way. So these were the things I was doing, and I was traveling at the same time, going to different cities.
Yeah.
I think I was lucky that I had mentors with a very positive philosophy of life. So
Mhm.
at the same time, I was having a lot of fun. I started reading more books. I was getting my personality more interesting. I was following my heart more, because when you put yourself in difficult situations, you understand like who you really are, like what you crave inside, what is your soul,
Mhm.
like what kind of hobbies do you have, all these things. And at the same time, when you're doing these things, you become a more attractive person. You get better friends. So life was just like a snowball effect of on the way to a very high quality life. And then
Mhm.
of course at one point it's a bit too much. I remember, and then you go to like a little bit of a spiritual crisis, like what is happiness, what is happiness? Like figure out like what's gonna make me happy, because you first thought the woman's gonna make you happy, but then you realize it's not gonna be like this. You have to give it yourself. The women are just like beneficial, like extra. The same with the money, you can chase the money. Oh, the money is gonna make me happy. So then I did like a spiritual thingy-wingy, did some searching, some soul searching, and then I went back like, okay, I think I can't understand what happiness is now. But then you go back to the woman, and that is even more beautiful. So that is, it never stops basically. Then you become older, now I'm 35, now I'm thinking more in terms of like, I want to build a family, I had a nice relationship before. So, and I probably get in more beautiful relationships. So life is a non-stop learning journey.
I think it's a very good point what you said. Like, I think it happened. This happened to me and many other people I know. Like when you start this process, it's for some people they already like started their journey, self-developing in other areas.
True.
Super good. But for some other people, it's a huge trigger to say shit. It's not only about just having a couple of balls and talking to a girl, which is great, but also you end up realizing shit. I should be someone worthy of meeting off.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you
Would you like to date yourself?
That's the question. Exactly.
Scary question.
Yeah, then you start thinking about, okay, it's not just like, cool, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna do like the approach. I was watching the other day like funny video. Who was this guy? It was Sasha Dagan, It was like doing like a extreme of the hello, like showing the street. So it's not just about like doing the action, which is courageous and girls like value it a lot oftentimes. It's also about realizing shit, like what's my value proposition, like what because at the end of the day you're doing an invitation to someone. Like, are you doing a
exactly
fucking no-brainer invitation, or your invitation is like, my friends are shit, my life is shit, I hate what I do, I don't like my job, and I'm just trying to talk to girls to evade myself or something.
Amazing point you're making, because you want to exchange like your life, no? So you have to back it up with something.
Yeah, you're asking value from the girl, like, hey, I want to meet you, but you need to give something in exchange.
And it's also like it works double ways, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. That's the cool thing about self-development. You build like character by doing difficult things and by creating like an amazing life.
What do you think is the main ingredients from the character from someone who is like attractive? Like, what are the ingredients that someone needs to be like proper character to attract women? Social skills, like, mainly focus,
Social skills mainly?
Yeah. Well, you can expand, up to you.
Yeah, we can talk about this little question for hours, but I think what you mentioned before is like a male that is feeling good in himself always attracts like good people around him. So if you feel good in your own skin, you'll express and show it to the world, and people will feel that. It's like some people, the dog always comes with them on the street and they can pet them instantly, but some people, the dog will always bark at them. So I think if you feel good in your own skin, then you will have a relaxed nervous system. You can just you'll just be an attractive person. It sounds easy, and it kind of is, but it's also not. You have to do the work to get there if you're not there yet.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I think it's a lot of the philosophy that I always like got from you, learned from you. It was like, oftentimes it's not just like about adding like layers to the cake, It's about how can we make things the most simple way, effective, while at the same time like growing, like becoming someone who is not just good with girls, someone who is like social, someone who is like calibrated, someone who is like socially aware, because this way you don't end up like in a paradigm where it's like a on-off button, like, okay, I just learned to make a girl laugh during 5 minutes in the street, and that's my skill, but after that, when I meet any other person, I'm not that same person.
Exactly.
And that's something I felt from you when I met you. It's like, this guy has a good vibe. Like, even if she's not talking to a girl, like, I see him in her day to day. We go to a coffee shop. The electrician comes. There's a problem. he says hello to everyone. Everyone smiles back to him, and it's like, if I had to choose a word to define what's the key thing to get attraction, it's like the energy you have, you know.
Cool, man. Thank you for the compliment.
And that energy, I think it was one of the things you always like preach, you know, and taught. At least what I learned is like, not just focus on the girl, just focus on who you are as a person socializing in any situation. You know? Like if you're treating someone, put 100% of attention on that person, you know. Listen to them, like really care about them, like care about their emotions, see their environment, try to like be calibrated in the way you're operating, you know. Try to see if you can switch your energy in a way where the other person is more comfortable with you somehow, you know.
Yeah, it's cool that you say this. I actually I live socially by a fundamental sentence. And I think I probably tattooed this sentence in my head. And I think it is an affirmation for many, many years. It's like, people will never remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And if you tell me this thing now, because I probably do it unconsciously now, I always think about this when I meet people, like, am I giving like something of value, like a good emotion, or am I like taking something? So I think it's very important. So I think it's important, especially like as a leader in life, to like provide everybody good emotions. Now that there's like a problem in the store, okay, we're gonna help a bit, like try to solve it, give a good emotion, open the door for somebody. So I think all these small things, they add up and they create like a personal value. I also learn this from people, and it's funny because you don't always see yourself. You think what you do is what everybody does, but sometimes I also notice that it's not really true. And if you tell me this now, it's like, it gives me like a good feeling, because I forget sometimes, you know. So it's so important how you make people feel, because people don't really care. I think when I was coaching you and Armen, the few times that we were together, I'm not sure, but I'm sure you oftentimes ask me like, what should I say? But this is the only thing that clients cannot ask me. Like, I have no idea what you should say. You have to be authentic. Just remember, good vibes, think about their feelings, try to be relaxed, and things will come up. I'm not going to tell you what to say. I am not you. You don't have to be me. You have to create your own style. You have your own character. Everybody is very unique. So this is like the question I get the most, and I always laugh at the question, because I know you're going to solve it yourself, this problem. I'm not going to do it for you. I'll give you tools. I can give you some exercises to become verbally very strong if you do them committed, but you have to do it yourself. I cannot tell, I don't know what you think is funny, right? Like, what is funny? Like, I don't know what you think is funny. Yeah, but what's gonna girl laugh with? It doesn't matter. It's not about the girl. It's about what do you think is funny. You know how many times girls told me like, you have a very strange humor, but you love your own humor. So this is the perfect.
Whenever I see your approach, like I was always had the feeling that you were like literally jerking off your own mind, you know? Like enjoying so much yourself, like doing, like acting just like a little kid, you know. And I got that a lot from you, because sometimes we were like doing a boot camp or something, you were like coaching me, and that's right. I asked you like, okay, what would you do here, you know, and or how would you do in these situations, and you just tell me, I don't know, just do whatever you like, just go. Just try yourself. And I was like, I was expecting like a logical answer, you know, tell me X, Y, Z, you know, and then you realize like you I remember one time you asked me, Javi, what are you thinking right now, you know, and I'm just like, I'm thinking about I need to make more money, bro. Like that's all I'm thinking, you know, and you tell me, cool, that's interesting for you, right? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And so cool, that's you, that's your personality. So go talk to that to the girl, you know. So go talk about money to the girl. See, that's what you really care about in this moment, you know, because that's your topic of conversation. That's your personality, you know.
Exactly.
That's what you care about.
Exactly.
And that's actually what built like authenticity, you know. And we were like in some bootcamp, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna approach a girl. I'm just gonna talk about money, you know. And then we end up like vibing, get her number, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like another confirmation, like, shit. Doesn't matter what you say, you know, just how you make her feel, right?
Exactly.
It was like a very good insight.
Definitely. It's also something I have to keep reminding myself.
Yeah.
It's like about how people feel around you is not what you say.
Yeah.
Me, for example, I like to get into sometimes very interesting, deep conversations, discussions, debate a little bit. And it can become like a battle, like me, you, me, you, me, you. But I always have to remind myself, like, okay, but listen, first understand to be understood, like the Stephen Covey principle.
Yeah.
So yeah, it never ends, right? You try to preach something, but you always have to keep working. I think I'm actually, well, I'm a coach in dating and success and a mentor, but I'm actually just my own student, student of life basically, because I think there's always something to learn from everybody.
Yeah. And it's also something very interesting I found when like in your style of coaching is that like you don't necessarily always like, at least correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't necessarily always like attach to one way for forever. Like one, okay, this is the unique methodology, the unique rule that always stay. You know, it's like flexibility is important, right? Like there's any social situation is like fucking chaotic, you know, and maybe some rule applies here, but some other rule doesn't apply, and you need to like switch and do something different. You know, I think that's the magic of like social skills. It's like it's not like a mathematical problem. It's like always the same formula. It's like about becoming like comfortable in any social situation, so you can like use your intuition somehow to know how to react in any given space.
Yeah, true. You have to be open-minded and flexible, because you never know. Every person is so different that you encounter. Everything is so many emotions, so many things happen. Also yourself. Like today we're feeling this way, but maybe tomorrow, even in an hour, is going to be different. That's why life is so interesting and so fascinating. It never ends.
How did you become like you start developing your own journey, your own skills. How suddenly you become like a coach, having like hundreds of customers. And actually it's an interesting story because you're not a very social media person. You develop all your like business and customers, as far as I'm concerned, mainly by word of mouth, like people recommending you. Or just meeting people in the streets, right? Like customers in nightclubs or whatever. They saw you approaching girls and then you got customers there. Always like hidden, you know, like not super popular person. So how do you started the coaching journey? You know, it became natural to you, like you were decided to become a coach, or how did it work?
I think first of all I want to say that I'm probably the worst salesman in the world. So how did I start? It was I think somewhere 2013-14 that people were seeing me and they were started asking questions for advice. There were a few communities asking advice, like how would you do this, how would you do that, but also coming from a place like, why are people asking me questions, like what the fuck? So you just share, but you're still unconfident about it. Then I gave a few speeches here and there, like for some like big groups of people. And then my confidence started getting higher. And then I was like, yeah, why not? Why not do this? It's what I love. It's what I'm good at. I can keep traveling. So I started doing some coaching. Good feedback, amazing feedback. I was like, wow, interesting, cool, wow. Maybe it's something that I'm good at. Yeah, and then I start thinking like, things in life also, you have to identify what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths. And I discovered one of my strengths is I can look at something small, and I can see the potential, like where can it go. And also I can identify easily what you have to do to get there. And it's also what I see in business. I'm very good in like scaling up businesses, making them bigger, and also with people. So for me, it's very easy to see like a person who comes to me and he tells me like, okay, this and this is my story. I would like to achieve this, dating, money, hobbies, whatever. And for me, it's very easy to identify what exactly you have to go through. The psychology, the philosophy, the pragmatic actions. So the business started growing a little bit. I always saw it as a side business because I have a different business as well. But I love it so much, I couldn't let it go. But at the same time, I also wanted to be a bit anonymous, you know, like in the background. And I was always getting customers from my network, from my people who would see me, introduce me. Now I remember going to Singapore one time, and then guys were telling me like, hey, that guy from in London last year is coming, for example. So for me it was like very strange, right? I'm just a dude who put like a lot of time in this, in self-development, like almost obsessively working on himself, reading books, meditating, like all different aspects. And at one point it was just flowing. Get some good clients, get some more. They do they tell it to other people, and I'm very grateful. Yeah, I like it. So
Nice.
yeah.
You've like almost, I don't know, meet women in almost every city in Europe, right? Like,
Yeah, in my let's say in the period I was very dedicated before I got into a relationship, I was always traveling. So yeah, I remember like one point, this was quite funny. I had like a summer in Barcelona. You know, the summers in Barcelona can go very crazy, especially when you're good with women. Then afterwards in September, I was just like looking at the map of Europe, like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna go to Budapest. I'm gonna visit Rebecca. And from Budapest, I'm gonna go to Romania, and then I'm gonna fly to Istanbul, and then I'm gonna fly back to Madrid, and then like this, you know, without booking one hotel for like months in a row. So yeah, this was. I'm happy that I can look back. Like now I'm a bit more mature. I'm more like a relationship person. I can look back and like, yeah, I've done it. You know, I will not regret this. I will not be this guy regretting that. And I think you can also probably agree with that. You also like had some crazy years, and also now more talking about like long-term relationships. Like if you, it's quite adventurous, no? Quite fun. But again, if you work for it, you'll get what you deserve. And if you want those pimping years, like having fun with a lot of women, then again, not for everybody as well.
What have you learned about coaching like so many customers? What are the, I don't know, maybe the things that you see people fail the most, or things that you think like, I don't know, maybe everyone believes one thing, but it's like kind of the opposite. What are the kind of the patterns you see like in customers you work with?
Yeah, like a few things again, a subject I can talk for many hours. But first of all, is we all make up a bullshit story about ourselves in our head, and we live by that. I cannot do this, I cannot do this, I can only do this. First of all, 99% is like a lie. So very important is you have to peel the onion, you have to unlearn some patterns, and then you can build like yourself new up. If you say like, oh, I cannot do this, you will never do it. I think it was Henry Ford who said it, like the person who says he can do something and the person who says he cannot do something are
both right.
Both right, yes. So I think this is like so important, especially like emotionally, because we anchor everything emotional. Like, oh, I'm scared, I should not do it. Like, no. If you're scared, you should just do it because it's going to be good for you, right? Like it's just fear, right? Just an emotion. We can just unlearn it, right? You can learn like a technique to overcome that fear and just make it part of yourself. Then on the other side, I think a very important factor is what I always see. Like external life is a reflection of your internal life. And if you have low self-esteem, your external life will also be quite shitty. So I think every action is like coupled to like self-esteem. If you have high self-esteem, the external world will also react to you. If you take responsibility, the world will react differently because people, this guy is doing what he has to do. He's approaching women. He's going to the gym. He's eating healthy. So self-esteem is always coming back, like a lack of self-love. People doubt themselves, like, oh, I don't deserve that, for example, or because teaching pragmatic skills is quite easy, right? It's like you have to do A, then you have to do B, then Z, then C, then D, and then Z, and then you will have that. But under the way, there's like emotions, limiting beliefs, and low self-esteem, and the voice saying that you cannot do that, or whatever your thing is. So I think this is like the pattern I'm always seeing, always. Or like learning the wrong things, then you have to unlearn those things. Somebody told them on the internet, yeah, this guy has to do this, and then they just copy it, and then often it's wrong. I cannot tell you how many times I see people just approaching, like
put an example.
if you cannot even do the basics, like what are you doing? Like just scaring people in the street. Like I remember now, a person came to me and he was like, he did so many things. He had coaches, he had this, he had that. Really working for like nice, putting a lot of time and effort into it. First approach in the street, and he approaches a woman and he just scares her. And he comes to me and he's like, yeah, she rejected me. I'm like, bro, do you want me to show you what you just did to her? And I did it to him and I was like, whoa, was I that? He's like, yeah, bro, you just scared her. I gave her some time. What I always tell people is when you approach somebody, first have eye contact. So people have time to download you, like who you are, what's your vibe, and then say something and go in very smoothly. Or don't like jump in people their faces. So these are basics, right? and it's very easy to learn like the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very important to have feedback and to reflect on those things.
Yeah, definitely. Like, do you see, especially because you work with beginners, but also with people? I mean, I was running a dating advice company, and like I think like getting coaching for you like few times.
Yeah.
I will keep doing it for sure, because it's like when I'm back in the game, it's like shit. It's like always you give like some feedback that is useful, not just like with dating, but also like socially. You know, you feel like okay. At the end of the day, if you communicate better, you know, you do things better. You know, in everything. So I'm interested about these patterns like of all learning things. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing I got from like your feedback is always like small little details, you know. I remember like so many times, like you were just telling me one small detail, you know, like hey, you're moving the hand this way, you know, like you're doing like little things a bit weird, just like change it, you know, or like small. It's like I would say like patterns that are like automated in the mind, you know, and then when you're like approaching, it's like your subconscious is like running the shit, you know, and you do things you're not even aware, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how that thing you said is something that I feel like very identified, because I was coming a lot from like learning a lot of like technical like pickup, you know. Like I don't know, I had even like PDF documents with like prescripted lines, you know. Like okay, if
funny, you're one of those guys.
I remember one night, man, I was in Barcelona in a nightclub. I was alone. Actually, I pulled and closed the girl, you know. It was funny. It was a Tuesday. So it was alone. It was a bit harder, you know. But I was like, my mind like so fucking in blank, because like I was running out of things to say, and I was not comfortable just owning that situation, you know. So I just got like a PDF and I started like saying like random sentences, you know, which short term might work for sure. It worked that night, but in the long term you're like training the wrong patterns, you know, because you're not like
kinda.
learning to be comfortable, like just like with yourself. You're just like relying on certain like little, you know, tricks or like how do you say in English, place where you hold yourself for a moment, but it's not like the real solution, you know. Be like, it's like you're in a river and you're like over a little like stone, just like this, but you're not like holding your full feet on the ground, you know what I mean? So I don't know if you have like some like little other like spot patterns or things that you see that people try to learn by themselves, but they end up like fucking up the interaction more than if they didn't do it in the first place.
Yeah, I think people overthink things. Things are way more simple than we think. I remember...
Like my question is, do you have like some examples of behaviors that you see that are like commonly mistakes for people who are like trying to approach by themselves?
Yeah, for example, the simplest thing that I often see is people don't laugh enough. It's like smiling is so easy. It's like so fucking easy, and people react to so well to it. Just a small smile, hey... Or people are often too serious. Probably maybe because they're anxious, not sure. But this is like a thing that is quite easy to implement. Also, simple things, people forget names easily. They're just like small things, right? Tweaks. Also, body language wise. Body language is such an easy thing to learn. If you do it consistently, you can really change it. But there's no attention for it. I think it's so important because you can kind of fake it and then make it. So if you stand like tall, you know, use your hands a little bit, you have eye contact. Eye contact is a beautiful thing. So simple things like this make a difference, can make all the difference in the world. And also like just personal hygiene, for example, like, or use some color in your clothing, simple things that I teach sometimes. Like I had a client and he was always completely dressed in gray. Everything was gray. I told him like, listen, your clothing is like a representation of yourself. Like, bring some color to the table. Yeah, but I like this clothes. Yeah, okay, you like it, but it's gray. It's like super boring. Like, put something else on. And afterwards, like, he worked on it. Now, when I meet him, like, he has more color, and it's beautiful because it changes everything. So these are small little things. So easy.
Interesting. Cool.
Sometimes it's like simpler than we think it is.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes not. But it's simpler. But the thing is, we don't see it, right? Because we have tunnel vision. Me, myself as well, if I want to improve something, because we always do the same thing and we are creatures of habit. So, yeah. What are things that you see with your clients back in the day? Like little things that you always that always came back with different people. And
Yeah.
so like this is one of the things that are easily changeable, and nobody's doing it.
Yeah, I would say like quite a few things. It happened to me with few customers. Like one basic thing was the voice. You know, it's like, I mean, this is a basic thing, but I noticed also with like younger guys. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like kind of asking for information all the time. You know,
Yeah.
with their voice
Yeah.
somehow, and it's like.
Hey, please, can I give your number? Yeah.
So that because we used to coach. I mean, we used to do boot camps in person, but also like phone coaching. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like approaches. And I was like, man, I feel bad for the girl, you know, because you're like scaring her with the voice, you know.
Yeah.
That's a fucking powerful thing to
Yeah,
develop,
true,
you know.
True. Yeah.
That's one of the big things, and at the end of the day, it's one of the, I think, the huge ways I perceive you analyze things many times is through emotions, you know, because
Mhm.
every behavior you have at the end of the day, yeah, it has an impact in a logical level. Like if you, I don't know, grab a fucking knife, logically you could think that something shit got wrong is gonna happen. But it's also thinking about how is the action I'm gonna do is gonna impact emotionally the interaction, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, cool, this thing I'm doing, this action, what you were saying before, is it gonna offer like value emotionally to the interaction?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not just what you say, it's like, it's not this, if this joke is funny, it's like, that's the joke makes you enjoy the interaction and provide those good emotions to the other person,
Yeah.
you know? That was one of the things that, yeah, kind of the same things, you know? Like when we were, like sometimes customers just like thinking about, okay, well, how do I make her laugh, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I just applied the same feedback you gave to me, you know?
How do you make yourself laugh?
Yeah. Remember one time there was a customer, we were like doing a live phone call, coach,
Yeah.
and he was like a bit like logical, you know, what do I say? And we just like made stupid openers. One was like, hey, I want to buy like a green, you know, what's a, you know, a track for the field. Tractor, do you say?
Tractor, yeah.
Tractor, yeah, you know. I want a green tractor because I'm going to have my own farm with little chickens. Where can I buy one right now? But not green, just yellow, you know? And the guy was like freaked out. And they end up having an Insta date 2 minutes later, you know,
Beautiful.
just for that. So for me, one of the biggest breakthroughs, and also that I saw many times with customers, is like releasing yourself from the attachment of like having control from the interaction. You know, say, cool, I'm just gonna flow, just gonna come whatever comes to my fucking mind, even if if it's something stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna focus more on, as I was saying before, what's the emotional impact that my words or my actions have on myself and as a consequence on the person I'm talking with, rather than is this gonna please the other person at all costs, you know?
Okay.
Because then you get control, attachment, and then you get tense, you know?
Yeah.
And then you don't relax, and then it's a negative feedback loop somehow.
True. Yeah, nicely said.
Cool. So, yeah, I don't know how long we've been with the interview, but yeah, 47 minutes. Let's do a couple of questions more.
Okay, cool.
So,
Keep them coming.
Yeah, let's go. Let's talk a bit more about, maybe other areas of life as well. You've been like digging deep into health the last couple of years or 3 or I don't know how many.
Kind of, yeah.
I don't know if you want to share something. What's been like your biggest like breakthroughs in the last 2-3 years, because you've been like all in. You came 2 days ago to my house and you made like a huge box, you know, with all the little like supplements or the little like ingredients or like eggs and everything you bring for yourself. How has been your experience with that journey? One, and number two, how do you feel like health has an impact as well in your like emotional state and dating women at the same time?
I'll start with the second question. Like, what is the impact? I would say it's enormous. I think in the past, I had no idea how beneficial it could be when you have like a healthy life, when you have like healthy habits instead. Your nervous system is more relaxed, you make better decisions, you're more happy, you have more energy, your emotional intelligence is higher, and you attract better people, basically. Let's say you talk to a woman, you get rejected or something happens. The thing is, if you feel good in your skin, you're kind of okay, right? So I kind of learned in my health journey, well, I had some challenges. I learned that every cell in your body is formed by the things that you eat, the water that you drink, and the emotions that you have. So if you can handle those three things, I think you have an amazing body, an amazing machine to go through this life. Especially like diet is so important. And I think I told you already, like the joke I always make with myself is like, I run around here and I look at people and I think to myself, you guys have no idea how good you can feel if you have a metabolism that gets energy from fats and not from grains. Like you have no idea how good you can feel. You don't have the spikes anymore, you have more energy, and you just think way better, way better. You can read longer, you can study more difficult things. The conversations are better, you're more creative. What I like, for me, like creativity is like a discovery of the past few years, like how to be more creative, right? Because the mind is such a interesting fucking tool. So if you feed like all the good stuff, like you make sure you have an overdose in minerals and vitamins and from bioavailable stuff, like good food and good meats and good eggs and good fish, and yeah, I think the sky's the limit. And for me, it's always like a surprise that I meet like successful people, entrepreneurs, and they disregarded the fact that they have no idea how much more money you can make if you handle health better. Like health is like the fucking main fun. It's like the mountain in your garden, basically. It's like the basis for everything. And I think you agree, right? You also
Yeah. Was one of the things I've been working the most the last 1 or 2 years as well, like learning, and also more than learning, like putting in practice, you know, like committing like to
amazing. Well, I can see your fridge here, full of amazing grass-fed beef, a lot of eggs. I love it.
So
and I've seen your body changing as well. I think the last time we were together was
Belgium, right?
Yeah, we through in Belgium, and then the year before was in Budapest, and the year before was in Ukraine. And I changed. I've seen your body changing. Your skin looks better. Your eyes are like whiter. You got bigger. So it's just again, you put the work in, you get what you deserve.
I feel it a lot, you know, like especially like with the like I don't feel like. It's more like absence of negativity, you know. Well, at least for me, how I experience is not like more like, wow, I'm super great, which I am, you know.
It's a good way to say.
But it's the fact that I have lunch and I'm not tired after lunch, almost never, you know. I don't need at all coffee, you know. I used to drink like coffee oftentimes, you know.
I remember.
And like
and desserts.
Yeah, and desserts in the restaurants. And like it's an energy boost, you know, like or like okay, I need to be super on point for this, whatever, you know. I'm just gonna have a coffee to be like over the top energy, you know. And it's like now I drink like some coffee and I'm feeling like shit, you know, like super anxious somehow. Yeah. And it's like fuck it. Before I was drink like this was my default paradigm, you know, like my default being state, you know, and the most thing I notice is like small things compound, you know. It's like you start changing maybe the quality of the meat. You stop like eating the small shit you eat like once a week or something. You change like the health products you use, you know, like for your skin, for whatever. You change like certain thing in your house which is not good, or the air quality or whatever. It's like 1%, and suddenly it's like fuck man, I just walk in the streets, I feel amazing with my body, I have like unlimited energy, my mind is clear almost always, you know. And it's like you see like this is normal for me, but I like imagine like years ago, like for example doing like I don't know first approaches in my life, you know, not only all the anxiety from like the fears to overcome, but also it's like okay, shitty lifestyle, shitty sleep, shitty food, you know. Been there. Shit environment, and it's like it's everything adds together, you know. So I think it's like something I think I would do a bit different. Like if I started again, like I don't know, having like 16, 18 years old again, I would put more priority on health, you know.
I agree.
Because it makes things like
it's the basic
roles
stuff.
Easier, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
And it goes back to the better. For me, it's like the better decision making. I think making choices is like one of the most important things in life. You have two choices, and if your brain is not working like in high potential, like how many times did I make a bad decision when I was too tired or hungry or whatever. So I tend to agree with you. I think it's like one of the first things that I would handle if I can try it again this life.
What would you say to? So imagine yourself, you're 22 years old right now, virgin, like social anxiety, zero experience with girls. What advice would you give yourself?
Thank you for the question. And the first thing that I think about is just don't be that guy. Don't be the person for Greta. I think we all can.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to like really grown-ups, like retired people, like let's say 70 plus. I kind of put them in two groups. The people who are like having remorse. You can see it in their face, like a bit angry. Then you have people who are like just getting older, but like very satisfied. So you want to get older satisfied. No regrets. You know, like chase your dreams, do what you have to do, build character. You don't want to be that group of, oh shit, fuck, I wish I did that, you know, I wish I did that. So I had a meeting, for example, last week for another business venture I have. And yeah, we were like negotiating. And then for me, I said before, I'm a shitty salesman. And I really literally told her, like, listen, you don't have to work together with me, but just don't think in 10 years, I wish I did it. Like, if you don't do it with me, just do it because it's important that you do this for the world, because you will make the world a better place. But don't, in 10 years, I don't want you to see in 10 years and tell me, like, oh, I wish I did it. That's it. So this is what I would tell people. No regrets, go for what you want, and maybe it hurts a bit, it will be challenging. But this is life, you only live one time.
Yeah, that's definitely a very, very powerful mindset also when you are like getting into like cold approach. Because sometimes it can be fucking painful, you know? Yeah,
it's painful, but it's part of life, no?
Yeah,
it's like, if you can handle the pain, you can also handle like the good things. Vice versa. So, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. It's like a roller coaster, especially in the beginning. But it's super fun, and then you get the results. Just a more satisfying life. Basically.
Yeah. So how people can find you? Because right now you're you're like doing some boot camps, doing some coaching in this moment, and also I wanted to invite you here so you can also like my audience can get to know you, and also for me STEF has been like one of my top two, three, like in the top 3 person most influential in my development, like in social skills. And I will be like eternally grateful, you know, like for because you helped me to push like to levels where maybe no other person at my surroundings like could do, you know, because you start like in this journey, you start like meeting girls, you start like improving, but some people give up, or some people just like settle with what they have and they're happy, and that's great, you know, but there's like not much. Like there's not much psychos, you know, who have been like pushing for years, like meeting women and like getting to the next level, you know. And it's like, wow, I knew you could like push me to do things or to experience like situations I never encountered before. Yeah. And I remember when like we were doing like the first boot camps, it was like shit, like I wasn't expecting this, you know, like I maybe knew that I thought okay, I'm great, you know. Yeah. But then you put me in situations where like, okay, you know, this happens. This used to happen to me sometimes. Like you, probably still happens to me. Like you end up like doing kind of situations where you're comfortable with, you know, and obviously your comfort zone is like quite huge, you know. So try to find something that it's actually like a problem, you know. Sometimes it becomes a challenge.
But still, it's possible.
Yeah, for sure. I could tell many stories, you know, about the social challenges you made me do sometimes, and it was powerful. We share in the other live stream one social challenge, but we're not gonna explain the same, so people can watch the other video. Yeah. Do you have any like social challenge or I don't know, specific situation you remember that was like really crazy, like that made you grow quite a bit?
Yeah, something that was really good for like rejecting overcoming that I really liked is, you go into like things that you have to pay for, then you ask for it for free. For example, you go to a coffee place and you just tell the person behind the coffee stand, like, listen, can I have a coffee? But I don't have money with me. Can I still have coffee? Yeah, but the first time to do it is like challenging, right? Because everything in this world is transactional.
You made that dude to Armin, I think. Yeah. Because he was playing that one story, you know, like he was fucking making me a story to beg, like not beg, but like
just like show yourself and just be general, like listen, I don't want. But it's for many people it's like very difficult the first time, and for me it was as well. So, but I want to say like a small thing, because I like what you said about that you enjoyed the boot camps that you were getting from me. Yeah. Like I tend to be like an anxious person from the past, so always before I start working together with somebody, I always tell myself, this week I'm gonna make sure that this guy has the most epic week of his whole life. Like I want him to remember this week for the rest of his life. They will remember, oh, that week I was with STEF in Barcelona, and I'm never gonna forget it. That's always been like my main thing. So I put so much energy inside of it. So yeah, I'm happy that you have like a positive experience with it.
Sure. How can people find you?
I have Instagram. We can put the account name under the video.
Sure.
And just reach out and have a talk with me. And if you're interested in something more, we can also talk about it. But always reach out. I love to hear your story. I love to give feedback. And if you have feedback for me also as well, if you want to cooperate in any way, I'm here for you. And yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Javi, thank you very much. Thank you for the compliments. Always good working together with you. Vamos bien.
Okay. Stop.